I'm sorry, we're not taking the picture of that Michael because this is the Godfather Minute. I'm Alex Robinson.
And I'm your co-host, Andy Robinson.
And this is
El Minuto Numero 9.
Minuto Numero
9. Say it with me, Alex. 9. That's it.
Nove, I can say that again.
You will. You will by the end.
So this is minute 9 of The Godfather. Minute 9, and it's
Number 9. Were you waiting for me to say that?
Show. No, it's the wrong show.
Okay. The right number, the wrong show.
That's true. It's minute number 9, and it starts off. We're at the wedding of Connie Corleone.
Finally, she's getting married.
Concourse. I was getting worried about her. She seemed like she's a bit of I was worried she was going to become a spinster.
A spinster.
Yeah. So the minute starts off with the Don. They're about to have their picture taken, and the Don has said, "You know what? No pictures. We can't do it without Michael.
Stop the picture.
Stop
the photograph."
So, two funny things about them taking the picture I noticed watching it like minute by minute is that the photographer gets surprisingly angry.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
He just kind of like shakes his head like, oh, disgustingly. I'm like, dude, you're doing the Godfather's wedding. You should just be like, oh, yes, sir, Mr. Corleone, sir.
Sure, but we haven't seen the backstory. We don't know if the photographer's had just spent 40 minutes telling each person, hey, at noon sharp, everybody. We are going to be taking this picture.
Yeah. Either that or he just knows him from the olden days. So he can be a bit more forward. He can be a bit more expressive.
In a future minute, I would like to talk more about this photographer. Although I don't know if it's the same photographer. I'll have to go back and watch it. There's
good question.
Something that takes place.
Yeah. But also the photographer's assistant, who's some pimply-faced teenager and has the awesomest plaid yellow slacks.
Awesome.
Which I encourage everyone to check that out. It's right at the start of this minute, the photographer's shaking his head angrily, and there's this like little dweeb kid with nerd with glasses, tall blonde geek with glasses.
Do you think? So are you saying the photographer is really upset, disappointed because of his assistant's choice of clothing?
Yeah, I think I think his son picked out the worst possible pants to wear to a very fancy wedding where everyone's in tuxedos and this kid's there in plaid yellow pants.
And the only saving grace is that kid is not in the picture.
Exactly.
Because then they definitely would have. Yeah. The Don would have said, "We can't take the picture without Michael. And we definitely can't take it with the photographer's assistance."
The photographer thought he could slip his son in as Michael. The Godfather won't notice the difference. I know we both wore. You and I are brothers.
Yes.
And I definitely remember us wearing plaid pants as children because we grew up in the 70s. Mm-hmm. Would you? Do you have any desire to wear plaid trousers now, and would you have the courage to do it since they would be like very unusual to be wearing plaid?
So are you asking me then if someone proposed that and said, "Hey, here you go, you can do it," what would I do?
What would you do?
What would you do? What would you do?
Well, in the 70s, it was the style. And also I was a little kid, so our mother was dressing us. Well, our mother was dressing you. I think I had a little more choice in what I was wearing.
I was so lazy.
I kind of liked it. I missed those days.
You mean someone dressing you or someone putting out the clothes for you?
Both.
Okay.
I really don't want to have to think about it. But I played bass in a band, and I could be convinced to wear plaid if it were the right gig and I weren't the only one doing something sort of extraordinary.
Yeah.
I could be convinced.
Okay, so two things about that. Would you really want, you mentioned that you wanted someone to dress you. Would you really want, because remember I see a show where someone has like a butler or like a valet, someone who's helping them get dressed. I would not want that.
You would not want someone helping you make
I would
those
not want
choices?
someone's. Well, maybe the choices, but I wouldn't want someone standing there and I put my hands up over my head and my valet puts my shirt on for me. And
So it's the physical act of dressing.
yeah, it would just be uncomfortable to have someone like. I guess maybe you'd get used to it.
Well, because I want to reference an earlier minute where you said you would love to be able to delegate jobs to people.
Yeah, totally.
We were talking about that. But
Yeah.
so it's just the physical act of someone saying, raise your right arm, and you putting the sleeve on. Is that
That
it?
sounds very impatient. He's like, raise your right arm.
Well, and of course,
Dude, you're my valet. You should be like, oh, sir, please.
and of course, this chump has to have the attitude of, like the photographer does. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
I told you, raise your left arm.
Although in a way, maybe that would be better.
do you
Because
mean?
like knowing that someone is upset with you, but that they still have to do whatever you say is almost like even more powerful. You're like, I don't even care if you're upset because you're just gonna have to dress me because that's you know what I mean?
That's what
Like-
we do. That's your role.
Like if I had a maid, I would constantly just be throwing stuff on the ground. 'Cause I'm just like, hey, it's what we have a maid for.
when
Like,
you're creating jobs.
yeah, I'm a job creator. I'm an innovator.
So would you wear plaid? Whether
I-
you chose it or someone else chose it for you?
I would love to have the courage to wear plaid slacks. I should look into it, right?
Well, I know a crime boss whose daughter is getting married. You should go and ask him for that courage.
I bet
he
they'll-
can't refuse.
It's true. Wait, what was he? The Wizard of Oz? He's going to give me the courage. It was always inside of you all along.
There's nothing to see in this office. Nothing to see behind that window.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Yeah, so I should do it. Now that I'm saying it on the podcast, I should buy. If there's not even where you buy a pair of plaid pants.
You should ask the photographer.
Probably. He's probably like very old by now.
It's probably all vintage in vintage stores now. That stuff comes back around.
Well, that's what's weird because this is filmed in the 70s when we were wearing plaid pants, but it's set in the 40s. So I wonder if plaid pants, were they around the whole time?
Oh boy, or was that a production slip?
I can't imagine.
No.
You think that would be like,
No, I don't think so.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's just amazing how much detail there is in that scene, and like I didn't even notice that, for example, and I'm sure I noticed things that you may not have, including the following. Now I don't know if this is real, but I've heard
It's a movie. It's made up.
what? I thought this was a biography. So
filmography.
the opening, and maybe the only dialogue in this minute is, there's just a little bit, but Brando says, we can't take the picture without Michael. That's the opening.
Yeah.
But I heard that he actually says, we can't make the picture without Michael. I don't know if that's real or urban legend. I listened back to the minute a few times and it's a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
And the legend goes that because the Paramount did not want Al Pacino to be in the movie.
What?
You didn't hear that? There was definitely
Oh
questions.
no! I definitely
about
know.
that.
I definitely know that there was Al Pacino was like
He was on the ropes
thin
for a little
ice.
while, yeah. And
Thin ice.
And so maybe one of the producers said, Brando, you've got to say we can't, or I'm sorry, Brando lobbying for Al Pacino said, we can't make the picture without Michael.
Oh, so wait, but did he mean does he mean Al Pacino or does he, because if Al Pacino didn't do it, it's not like they would have written the part of Michael out.
Yeah, I don't think either way they couldn't have made the picture without Michael, but I'm guessing he was lobbying for Al Pacino, but it would have been caught by the producers, by the suits, if he had said, we can't make the picture without Al Pacino in the role of Michael.
All right, let's still play a little mind experiment. Suppose in combat, Michael Corleone had died in World War II. That was the second of the two World Wars. How would things have played out differently in this scenario?
In this particular scene, well, they would have taken the picture.
You think they would have, or you think he would have been like, no pictures without Michael?
Wow.
He would never
That's
pose
serious.
for no, but in the movie. So up until the you have to assume everything would have happened more or less the same up until Michael gets involved and goes to.
Yeah.
Although I guess the first time would have been with with McCluskey,
Yes.
because if Michael wasn't there, then assuming that no one else was standing guard, that they probably would have capped the Don in the hospital.
Yeah. Well,
For your father.
your father. Your father who dresses you in plaid. Well, it's a good question. I know in the book, like we talked about in a previous minute, the Don had expected Michael to take over the business.
Right, yeah.
And so, yeah, well, Fredo or Sonny. Sonny's temper. We'll talk a little
Fredo.
little more about Fredo. Yeah, he was more kind-hearted, a little
Right.
softer.
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know. I mean, maybe just a Tom. I don't think Tom could have done it because he's not a Sicilian.
Yeah. He's a concierge.
Maybe he would have. Maybe Don would have doubled down on Santino, sent him to what do you call those schools where they really
Right.
discipline you?
Well, but the Don would have been deceased. We assume that if Michael wasn't there, then one of
After he was killed. Oh, I see what you're saying.
like assuming everything else had gone the same up
Oh,
until
all
that
the way to the-
point,
yeah.
they would have killed the Don in the hospital, and then I guess Sonny, who was at that point acting Don,
Yeah.
would have become the full Don.
Or maybe this was the opportunity for Bonacera to take the position that he always felt he deserved.
Bonacera as the
Why not?
That was the one
He's got
favor.
courage.
That was the one favor he
Yeah.
asked him. He's like, "When I die, could you take over the crime family?"
And he's already got the business going. He can make bodies disappear. He knows now how the system works.
You think Bonacera will be
His
the-
daughter's not going to get married, so he has nothing to worry about
that's
people
true.
coming to ask him for
Yeah.
favors.
Well, although we don't know, he might. Do you think he has maybe his other children?
Yeah, don't know if it says it in the book.
I'll look into that. There's a Wikipedia, Godfather Wikipedia, that is just specifically all about the Godfather characters and stuff like that. So that's-
excellent.
Get a lot of information from there. So,
Oh, neat.
so we were talking about the production, and I have some notes here about the where they filmed all this stuff.
Oh, interesting.
And it was filmed out in Staten Island. It's supposed to be taking place at Long Beach.
In Long Island, right?
Island, but it was actually filmed on Staten Island, the redheaded stepchild of the 5 boroughs of New York City.
The one people really don't go to, the one that's hard to get to.
You have to take a boat.
You have to take a boat. Do you think most native New Yorkers, the majority, have not been to Staten Island?
New York City? Or
Yes.
New York State?
New York City folk.
I'd say probably like myself. I guess I've been to a couple of times, but for the most part, when I go to Staten Island, it's like you take the Staten Island ferry, you get off, you turn back and go right back on the ferry, going the other
It's for
way.
the ferry
So-
experience, really. It's not
Yeah.
for the island.
but they have a minor league Yankees minor league baseball team there. So if you're interested in,
Yeah, the ferry ride's very nice, too. Great
Oh, yeah.
views of the city.
and you know the best part is the price, completely.
I thought
free.
the best part was turning around once you got to Staten Island.
Oh, please send
Oh.
all hate mail. from
Bronx in the
Staten
house.
Island. That's true. Representing.
Alex and you and I were both born in the Bronx.
Yes, this is true.
It's our native borough.
You can probably hear it in our voices. We have the map of the Bronx on our faces. So yeah, it was filmed in Staten Island in a area called Emerson Hill, and the house the past few years was put up for sale. Do you want to guess as to what the asking price was?
And this is the house that we see in
This is the
throughout
exteriors, the
film.
interiors.
Oh, wow,
They
the
show
whole thing,
pictures
the
of
whole
it.
shebang.
It looks,
I'm going to guess...
Keep in mind, this is also where Frank Pantangeli lived in Godfather
Oh, boy,
2. So
yeah.
it's very historic. Two
Now-
huge epic films.
Now, are you saying how much did it go for, like, regular dollars, or is this like laundered money?
This is
I'm gonna say $1 million.
An Italian lira.
I'm going to say $1 million.
This is 2014 also. so
Okay,
keep in mind
I'm gonna
that's
say-
inflation prices.
That's true. 700 grand. I know it's going to be way more than that.
700 grand. You're only off by about $2.2 million.
What?
It went for $2.89 million.
Wow.
So,
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of gabagool.
this is someone else's wedding. The sweet tomato. I was thinking next time you and I happen to be in New York City on our, we should totally go and find the house.
Yes.
And
That's a
then
great idea.
and we could write it off because it's part of the show.
Yeah. That's a great idea. I'd love to see it.
When years ago I went to New York City, Washington, D.C., specifically Georgetown with a friend of mine. And we were big Exorcist fans, and we knew the house where they filmed The Exorcist was
wow.
in Georgetown, but this is before the internet, so we didn't know where it was
Oh,
or whatever.
wow. So you just
So we were
marched
literally
around.
walking around Georgetown, and the guy was with Matt, you know him, was going up to people and saying, "Excuse me, do you know where they filmed the Exorcist, the Exorcist house around here?" And everyone was terrified of us.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and the last person you asked, their whole head spun around,
Yeah,
and when they
totally,
came back, like,
yeah.
"No, sir, I don't know."
He's just, "Yes, it's 2 blocks away."
red rum, red rum. I know that's not The Exorcist. I just wanted to do a creepy, like, possessed
So
voice.
here's a podcasting lesson. When you do that, don't acknowledge that it's not the right thing, because then people
really?
People at home will be all like, oh, that's not the right
awesome.
thing.
All right.
You got to prod people's OCD every now and
Excellent.
then.
So are you saying purposely plant
Yes.
incorrect references?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I'm
'Cause then
good. I'm very good at
It
that.
gets the listener involved.
Okay,
you know?
great.
They're like, you know.
Well, I didn't want to tell people that was from Pet Sematary anyway.
Oh, that's true. You know, sometimes Pet Cemetery is
Death is
better.
better.
Yeah. So, and in terms of the wedding,
Mm-hmm.
they had up to 750 extras involved. It took 4 days to film the whole wedding, which
Wow.
seems very quickly to me. Very quick
Is it?
to me. I guess it's just the outdoor scenes. Like, I'm sure the scenes of the up until
Yeah,
now
in the
were
office.
probably filmed in a studio. Or they definitely were, because there was the cat living in the studio. And they had to bring new food, prepare all new food each day, because obviously that food was sitting out there for days on end.
yeah.
They had to keep bringing in new food, new flowers and stuff to keep everything fresh.
Wow, I'm surprised it didn't last 2 weeks with bringing in all the food. And
I bet
had to
nowadays
stretch
it
out the
would.
production. Maybe. Well, I wonder if are movies made more quickly now than they were back then?
I don't know. It depends, I guess. Because with CGI and stuff.
Yeah, a lot is done in the studio.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to revisit maybe in a few hours what character could have been CGI'd. Now that you bring up CGI,
You mean in
in The Godfather.
Well, Jar Jar, of course, should have been.
Well, who would he have played?
Oh, Fredo, I guess. You should remake
He was stepped over. What is it? I don't do it. What's a Jar Jar? What's a classic line?
Misa. That's
Oh,
always.
Misa stepped over.
Yeah.
Speak with my younger brother Mikey.
So here's a interesting. So we really get a sense of like this being a thing of Italian.
Oh, it's great. It's
culture.
a great scene.
As you mentioned, Connie agreed to have a quote guinea wedding to please her father, and so this is you have the music and stuff.
Oh, the
like
music
that.
is great. And that classic melody. The
So I was comparing it to, and we obviously we'll have to do some of this again in a couple of years when we do Godfather 2, to compare this very Italian affair with the beginning of Godfather 2, which is his confirmation, and it's very much more white bread.
Yeah.
Frank Pantangeli makes a big deal of the fact that there's all these musicians and not one single Italian among them. So
Yeah, they don't know how to play traditional Italian songs.
Right.
Well, I wonder if interesting. I wonder if the progression of the story goes from immigrant to total assimilation.
Oh, yeah,
so they're
totally.
becoming more white
Yeah.
as they
Yeah.
progress and gain more power. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
Maybe I guess that's a commentary on America and capitalism in general.
Yeah, I
That to
think
win
it's-
you need to be white.
It's really funny because there was like in the 50s, there was a bunch of like a fad for like pop standards to have Italian, like That's Amore. Oh, That's Amore.
interesting.
And Rosemary Clooney had a song called Come Over My House. Come Over My House.
Huh.
It's basically she's like her singing with like a kind of Italian accent and like covers of like Italian standards.
So
and
you think it was
like that.
like a renaissance, like a cultural
Well, it was
attempt to get back to
Well, it was
traditional
probably like a
culture?
nostalgia for people like adults in the 50s who grew up hearing their parents playing that. And also they were probably assimilated enough where they could now listen to Italian music without being like embarrassed about it or anything like that. So
They feel like they had made it.
they had made it
were-
enough where now it was like, it wasn't like something that made you feel weird. It was just
interesting.
like, this is just, from our childhood hearing, being in the neighborhood and hearing, especially once everyone started moving out to the suburbs and those kind of ethnic neighborhoods kind of started to break apart and stuff. So
I am looking forward to have one of our friends as a guest on this podcast, Tony Consiglio.
he's no friend of mine.
No, he's no friend. I know he knows some traditional Italian songs.
Oh, yeah.
So
he
we'll have to get him to do
he's
some singing.
He was conceived in Italy, but born in Sicily, but born in America. So he was like as close as you can get
Right
to
on
being,
the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll have some interesting stories.
Yeah. Anyway, but back to this particular minute. We're at the wedding. We see the cops.
We don't know they're cops yet. Bunch of well-dressed men pull up and they have notepads, right?
Oh, you don't think it's obvious that they're cops?
I don't know. It's hard to see it for the first time again. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's until later where Sonny comes out and they talk about them being the FBI.
harassing them.
Yeah,
and,
right now they pull up in cars. They're walking around with notepads. Yeah, I guess it probably is clear, especially the whole beginning. It's established that Don Corleone
he's
is a crime boss.
Yeah. I mean, I guess theoretically they could be rival gang lords or something.
Yeah.
But,
All guys dressed the same back then. You couldn't
Yeah.
tell one profession from the other.
Do you wish hats were still in style? Do
Yes.
you wish guys still wore like fedoras type hats?
I think
all
the
time?
idea, yes, because
Yeah.
it's just cool, but
Yeah.
I don't want to wear a hat all the time.
One thing about wearing hats, like, what do you do with them? Like, okay, you go to a nice restaurant, you're wearing your hat, you show up, and then what do you do with your hat? I guess you have to check it.
There must be a place to
hat
put
check?
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a whole industry, not only the hat manufacturing industry to disappear, but then all the coat check girls and like I'm assuming there was all sorts of hat related industries that were gone.
So again, you're a job creator. You want to bring back hats.
Bring back hats
bring
and
back the
plaid
hat check.
pants.
Plaid pants. Plaid pants and hats. Let's bring them back.
I want to express some disappointment at Sonny Corleone.
What Santino?
Yes. I know I wouldn't say this to his face, of course.
Okay.
But like, he couldn't get a haircut for his sister's wedding. Look at that shaggy 70s hairdo he has for a movie that takes place in 1945. There's no way that would get by regulation.
Yeah, and you'd think too, you'd think someone would tell him. Do you think someone said, hey, you need to cut it, but him just being the oldest? I mean, doesn't the oldest usually comply and it's the second that rebels? Oh, no, it's the opposite. It's the first who rebels, right?
It really
Generally,
depends, I guess.
with children.
I guess whatever the second one does, the younger one
switches.
The younger one does the opposite. Like if the oldest one was a rebel, then the second one would be like, "Hey, come on, like do what Pop says."
I knew an Irish family growing up, and it was 6 siblings. Literally,
6 siblings.
Every other it alternated like math, like on off.
Oh,
like
rebel.
Doing
square,
straight A's
rebel,
and
square.
then total burnout. Straight A's. It was uncanny.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're saying you have to have, if you have to have at least 2 kids if you want to have one good one, and guaranteed one good one.
Yeah, and you need at least 3 to get that pattern rolling. So do you?
But then
think,
you might wind up with 2 bad ones and 1 good one.
Oh, that would be tough.
Yeah.
So do you think someone talked to Sonny?
I guess if
Or
you're
everyone was
3, you
just-
have to have an even number. You have to go to
to get that pattern going. Do you think someone talked to Sonny and said, or maybe Don Corleone? If Don Corleone had said it, Santino would have done it.
maybe. You know,
Or maybe
he's,
not, yeah.
He's a rebel.
Yeah. And everyone, even in the book, it's clear everyone does not tell Sonny what to do.
Right.
He's a infamous temper.
Yeah, that's true.
Gets him into hot water, as we'll see.
And he's hot for deals too.
Yeah, he is.
From what I understand. We're hot for deals. Come on down to Sonny's.
So if you were Don Corleone, how would you have had that conversation with Sonny? Because he's probably the only one who could possibly have gotten away with it.
Well, the mother too. I bet the mother.
Oh, yeah, that's
the mother
true.
probably has. It's probably actually. I feel like that personal grooming would have fallen more under the mother's thing. Although, it probably would have been along the lines of like Santino. You know, you look like a Scugaz. You know, some Italian word meaning Slav or something.
Santino, what are you doing? Never let anyone outside the family see that mop top on your head.
Oh, and this is before the Beatles, too. So he didn't even have
That's what I mean.
any
It's
role
really,
model to be
it's really,
wearing that mop.
yeah. Unless it was like what circumstances could have led for him to be to have this do?
Well, I do. Interesting cultural fact.
You do.
An odd thing is, who was one of the extras at that wedding?
Who?
Paul McCartney's grandfather.
Paulie. Hey, Paulie. What'd you get a
Who
haircut?
saw that mop top
Yeah,
and
it's very clean.
2 generations later, 20 years
Yeah.
later, his grandson's wearing
Yeah.
that.
Well, here's a weird thing because
Like forever changes America.
nowadays we're like, oh, it's before the Beatles, so short hair for men would have
Yeah.
been frowned upon.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
very a clear cultural point that just like a shift, But like as time goes on, that's going to become less and less obvious. Here's an example. In the movie The Sting, with
Great movie.
with Paul Newman,
Robert Redford.
Bobby Redford, and they're playing con men. It's set in like the 20s.
Maybe.
And the music is all like ragtime music.
What era is that from?
And ragtime music is from like 1901 to 1910 was like the peak of ragtime music. But to us, that's just like, well, that's old timey
They
music.
tricked us.
So like
worked.
as time goes on, and like 1945 is only 17 years before the Beatles. So eventually people are going to be like, yeah, the 40s, the 50s,
Wow,
the 60s, they're
fascinating.
all they're all the same kind of
Yeah,
thing.
they
So
just lump it in. Anything
Yeah.
20 or 30 years back is
Right.
all lumped together.
more people probably watch modern movies set in the 40s than actually watch things from the actual 40s. So it's the
I think you're
modern
right.
perspective on older decades that will, that will linger on as
I think you are right, because if I had seen someone getting killed in The Godfather with a musket loader, I would have been, oh, of course, yeah, it's
Yeah,
back then.
exactly,
Those are the guns they had.
Abraham Lincoln's invited to their to the wedding. Which is kind of fun because we're both history nerds, so it does open up the possibility for like, oh well, John Lennon and John F. Kennedy were alive at the same time, so they probably met each other at some point.
Right. Well, as we noted before, there were only 10,000 people in the country, so
Oh yeah.
there was really like 3 degrees of James Caan.
Yeah, you go to one concert, you go to Madison Square Garden, you meet everyone in the country.
The whole world is, the whole country's there.
Oh, it's like everyone doing a kumbaya kind of a thing.
So a little sidebar.
Yes.
Because I just brought up the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Do you have a sidebar theme song you want to put in?
I might do this. Sidebar. We're going to sidebar. That's not going to be it, but
Okay.
we'll bring it.
It's a
Maybe it
rough-
will.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah, we'll
Just
add it in.
sample that and use that every time.
So who was the Kevin Bacon at the time The Godfather was filmed?
You mean what actor
Who was the actress that connected most other actors and actresses?
Oh my gosh.
I don't mean to put you on the spot. You can think about it. We can do it next minute, but no later than next minute.
I don't know enough to like know who was a supporting actor that was in a lot of stuff from that time.
Yeah. It had maybe
Like you
some
wouldn't
kind
say,
of
even
character
if you
actor.
didn't know Kevin Bacon was the Kevin Bacon, you would never think Kevin Bacon was, oh yeah, he's connected to everybody.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? He's not that, like you would assume like, oh, Tom Hanks, he's in a lot of movies. So
Yeah.
I don't know how I would pick out the Kevin Bacon of the 40s.
I think it would probably be, because you wouldn't know, because Kevin Bacon is no one's favorite actor.
Oh, Kevin,
think-
if you're listening, we
we
don't
don't-
take it first. Don't take that.
Kind of like Steve Miller, awesome, but people like other bands better.
Saying Kevin
right?
Bacon is the Steve Miller of actors.
I think, and I think Kevin Bacon's great. He's always does a great job in all his roles.
Yeah.
He's very versatile.
Right. Well, I think on some level, Kevin Bacon might be accepting of that.
Maybe, yeah.
Like, as if you're a
Oh,
character actor, like you show up in a lot of stuff, but you're not like,
Yeah, you're the bacon, but not the
not the sizzle.
not the Thanksgiving ham. You're not the sizzle.
You're not the sizzling.
Sizzling.
That's
That's for the Kevin Bacon not being anyone's favorite actor. I'm making a deliberate effort to go back to previous bits that we've talked about.
callbacks. That's what we call them.
Callbacks.
Callbacks.
So that's not Picassoing?
No. Picasso would be like, well, John Lennon, it looks like you're going to go far. That's when John F. Kennedy met young John Lennon.
Well,
Get rid of those glasses.
And,
no
John
one likes
Lennon.
a nerd.
I was going to try to connect ragtime to that. Forget it. I'm aborting that. Well, I have a production note too.
Oh, yes.
I'd like to match your production note. So
Raise?
well, no raise.
Oh.
So this is a scene where we start to at least see many of the main characters.
Oh, yeah. You get a quick glimpse of
I mean,
everybody.
you don't get to know them yet, but you see
Right.
them all. So Francis Ford Coppola, when he took the job, really wanted to get the actors to jibe before production began. And so what he did, very creative, on March 17th, 1971, Coppola arranged for the entire cast of the Corleones to have an informal, improvised rehearsal meal at Patsy's restaurant in New York.
Just the Corleones.
Just the Corleones, yep.
Did he have the Borzinis do a separate one and the Tatalias? No,
Didn't
Tatalias-
say, but that would have been a great idea. And they had home-style table and dishes. It was a big Italian meal. Brando was the one, so they all got together. And Brando, of course, classic Brando, he's the one who broke the ice. He opened a bottle of wine and began the festivities. And they all bonded together, and they all started communicating and interacting in character.
Weird.
Yeah, Brando was sitting at the head of the table, representing the Don Corleone. Talia Shire served the food. And the three sons all tried to impress Brando like they were his real sons.
Oh, that's really now. Were they in character like, hey, I'm Michael Corleone, or were they just behaving the way that those characters would have behaved?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
I got the sense that that's where their character started to form. So they may have actually said, "Hey, Mikey, don't make Mikey, you getting the bread before me? You're stepping me over again." Like, but what an interesting way to kind of get that vibe going and contextualize their characters.
I wonder how far that was. What's the son and the brother-in-law's name again?
Carlo.
Was Carlo a part of that?
Don't know.
Was like Tessio and Clemenza a part of that, or was it literally just the family?
I think it was just the Corleone family.
How far would you have extended it?
Oh boy, I definitely would have had the other crime families, like you said, having their own. I would have had Paulie out walking around doing his job in the parking lot.
I would have had him judging a dance contest.
We'll get into that. That's so funny. I think I would have had Carlo, but maybe sitting at the kids' table.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, he still can't completely be trusted.
Yeah, it's true.
Or does it give him a living, but don't ever share information about the business?
Yeah, don't ever involve him in
How far would you have gone?
I think I would have done I think it would have been like just blood relatives, like just like all the people at the end of Godfather 2, probably the mother too. I don't remember if she was in was she in the end of Godfather 2? In the whole, in that scene.
Oh, you don't see her. You don't see Don Corleone or Mama.
Yeah, but I would have had Don Corleone and Mama there. That would have been the family.
You wouldn't have had the photographer's assistant?
Oh, yeah. Well, he would have been taking pictures the whole time. And maybe Johnny Fontaine, if he would sing for us.
Johnny! Yeah. I would have had him there just so he would sing.
Yeah. One of the people we do see is famous Abe Vigoda as Tessio. We see him very quickly. And he's holding oranges. He's eating an orange. Mm-hmm. And
he grabs it and throws it up in the air and catches it.
One thing I learned listening to the commentary I feel like I might have brought this up in previous minutes, in the commentary is that...
Do you mean another Godfather podcast? You cheating on me?
Let's just say that I'm keeping my options open in case this thing doesn't work out. No, but Tessio is having an orange, and Francis Ford Coppola consciously made an effort to oranges are like a sign of death in The Godfather. Like when later on we see Don Corleone puts the orange in his mouth right before he dies, and in Godfather 3 of all places, when I don't remember anyone's name. I haven't seen it in a long time. When Joey Zaza has all the crime bosses killed, they're eating. They have the big plate of oranges on the table, and so here we see Tessio. So is that foreshadowing that he's going to like betray the family and so on?
Yeah, it could be.
So anyway, we'll keep up to keep our eye open for oranges. Yeah. So and when the Don gets shot.
He's buying fruit.
He's buying fruit, and he drops all the fruit on the.
Oh yeah! So, wow, I wonder what that is. That a tradition, a film tradition, or a Sicilian cultural thing?
I knew someone who hated listening to commentaries.
Yeah,
because of that reason. Because sometimes the director would be like, "Yeah, I think they said they listened to The Sixth Sense." Mm-hmm. And they really loved The Sixth Sense, and then when they listened to the commentary, they found M. Night Shyamalan to be so like dumb and so like heavy-handed with his.
Oh really?
Like they were like, oh, it totally ruined it because he was totally like, oh, in this scene I put this in here to symbolize this, and the person was like, oh, that's so dumb, like, and it totally ruined the movie.
So was that person learning? I guess I don't understand why they thought. I don't get why it was ruined. Is it because they wanted to know those things on their own? They wanted to see them on their own?
No, just the fact that, like, you know, they sometimes, like, an artist should not explain their work because their explanation isn't as good as the thing that the person comes up with their own personal interpretation. Being like, I wanted to put Tessio eating oranges because, I know Abe Vigoda liked oranges. So I wanted, you're like, that's it? That's the only reason it showed up like that.
I can make a better movie than you.
Yeah, exactly. So the person was mad. That's
I want my 6 cents back. Yeah, I haven't watched too much commentary. I don't think I've seen the Godfather commentary yet.
I think I watched all three of them. I used to when I used to buy DVDs, I would listen to like all the commentaries. Now I never buy DVDs anymore, but or do commentary. So yeah. So anything else for minute number 9?
No,
number 9.
I think it's a great minute. I do want to revisit another minute. Just a quick note.
A little flashback.
A flashback.
Godfather flashback.
When we have Buonasera.
Oh my God! You're obsessed with this
I know we
guy.
talked about Buonasera so much.
What's the matter with you? Get the
I have great news. I got my hands on
the original Buonasera.
I got my hands on Francis Ford Coppola's production notes. Yeah, I got on Amazon and I ordered it. It came and it's his production notebook. So he has all these things written in the margin and things he wanted to point out and make sure he made take place when he was filming. Flashing back to when Buonasera offers the Godfather money to have the two
How much
attackers
should
killed.
I pay you?
Yeah, right next to that line in the margin, Coppola wrote, "Wow, is that the wrong thing to say?"
That's totally what we said.
Exactly, yeah. I just think it's great how he pointed that out.
Yeah.
What a wrong thing to say. So should we keep that in this minute, or should I go back and cut
That's
that out
fine.
and put it back into the previous minute?
A little seasoning.
Okay, and I'll come up with some flashback music.
Yeah. Although by now, I'm sure someone has emailed us saying, in that scene where he says, "How much should I pay you?" Francis Ford Coppola totally said it was wrong.
Yeah,
so
come on.
everyone's going to assume that you got that from their email. So let's thank that listener who emailed us.
Thank you in advance.
Yes.
That's Picassoing.
That is totally... No, that's not Picasso.
That's forward flashbacking.
There you go. Forward flashback.
Forward flashback.
Backing.
You've been forward flashback.
It should be all backwards. Wait, how would that be backwards?
Yeah, it'd be when would you use that?
That sounds very mysterious. Like it's building up like suspense.
Yeah, I feel like there would have to be something after that.
Like a payoff. Flashback! Anyway, on a scale of 1 to 15, how would you rate this minute?
We going 15? You
Let's go
changing the
15.
scale and make it.
Am I? I don't remember what it is from week to
It was
week.
5.
I can't remember.
Okay, let's go 15.
15. Well, 5. No halves. That's right. 5s, no halves.
Well, I like how they don't take the picture without Michael.
They don't make the picture without Michael.
I'm going to give it out of 15. I'm going to give it a...
Oh, no, 5. Well,
okay, we'll stick with 5.
Yeah, no halves.
No halvesies, no take backsies.
No cutsies.
No cutsies, no forward flash backsies. I'm going to say, because you always need someplace to go, I'm going to say 3.
You know, it's funny. I was going to say that exact same thing.
We're on this mind meld thing. 3.
Well, plus, I mean, there's not a lot of dialogue. It's a lot of like setup, ambiance type thing. Letting you know, kind of like, puts you in the mood of you're here at this Italian wedding.
It is a Brando scene. Not much. But,
technically, we can't give every Brando scene 5.
Yeah.
What does he have, 1 line?
I'm not going to do the picture without Michael.
So, yeah, and then the minute ends with the Don greeting someone who we will later learn is Don Barzini.
Yes.
So,
we'll talk about that. That's
an
important character, interesting character.
Yeah. Although, I mean, it took me a long time to figure out all the difference between all the crime lords, like Talia and Barzini, Cuno.
Yeah.
The other one.
Yeah.
So, Don Barzini.
Don Barzino. We'll see Don Barzini in the opening of the next minute, so stick with us.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we have to rate our assessment of the minute.
Okay.
Minuto numero 9. I'm going to say on a scale of 5, I'm going to say 4.
4.
Or maybe 3. I don't know. We came up with a new term, forward flashbacking. We reversed the trombone. We had cultural references. I really like the Staten Island info. I liked your commitment to us going to visit the house.
Okay. I'll say 3.5.
No halves.
No, you can give halves for reviewing our part.
Okay.
That you can do halves.
I totally would have given it 3.5. I really would have.
All right, so 3.5.
Okay, 3.5.
3.5. So, listeners, you can let us know what you thought of that episode. You can follow us on Twitter at Godfather Minute. We have a Facebook page, all that stuff. Just look it all up. And you can email us, podcast at Godfather Minute.
We'd love to hear from you.
Let us know what you think. But don't bother sending us any corrections. We're not gonna do erratas or anything like that.
A what? A what is?
Errata. It's a Sicilian term meaning.
It's a Sicilian message for
mind your
stop
own
sending me
business.
corrections.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right then. So until next time, take the gun, leave the cannoli on Godfather Minute.